Good evening. Welcome to WSBI, your resource for success podcast program, where you get to meet inspiring women-owned businesses from across the country. And now, for your host, Kimberly McLemore.
All right, good evening and welcome to WSBI, your Resource for Success podcast program, where you get to meet inspiring entrepreneurs and women-owned businesses from across the country. I am your host, Kimberly McLemore, President and CEO of the Women's Small Business Initiative, LLC, and award-winning author. And welcome to another night of sharing. With us, we have special guest Josselyne Herman-Saccio, master, coach, author, and keynote speaker. Josselyne has been leading transformative programs and coaching people for more than 30 years. She has worked with and impacted over 200,000 people directly in the areas of business and career, relationships and family, communication, and self-expression, fulfilling vision, resolving conflict, and overall well-being. Since 2008, as the founder of the nonprofit organization United Global Shift, she worked with leaders from more than 20 countries and counting. For the past 3.5 decades, she has had the opportunity to coach and collaborate with a diverse group of people, including executives, celebrities, stay-at-home mothers, victims of trauma, those in professional transition, community activists, pop stars, composers, neuroscientists, philosophers, athletes, Broadway, TV, and film personalities throughout thought leaders and CEOs. Regardless of their differences in life experience and professional stature, each person in her view shares a common goal: to be expressed, valued, and experience being able to make a difference and fulfill their vision no matter what challenges life throws at them. In her work with both individuals and organizations, she has the honor of guiding many people through the empowering process of becoming unmessablewith. So without further ado, please help me welcome to my platform, Josselyne. Hey, Josselyne, how are you?
Hi, I'm great. How are you?
I'm great. I'm excited to have you on. Boy, have you been busy.
I know. You read my bio and I'm like, I need to take a nap or something. I'm like...
Well, I mean, hey, it proves that you are definitely the right person I need to be talking to. And the thing that really stood out to me as I have been reviewing everything ahead of time, and we've been kind of going back and forth for the last couple months trying to get you on here so we could talk, is that I love the name of the business, Unmessablewith. I mean, that truly says a lot.
Isn't that the coolest? I know, right? People love that name. They don't know what it means, but they love it. Well, let me give you some meat to the bones, because I'll tell you what it doesn't mean, which a lot of people think it means, is about being tough. That's not what it is. It isn't about being tough. It isn't about being callous or not feeling your feelings or any of that stuff. It's about being able to stay in the space of creation instead of reaction. Where you get messable with and you get stopped or thwarted or hooked would be a way of saying it. So being able to, in the face of any circumstance, good, bad, or ugly, being able to create, fulfill on your vision, no matter what.
Right. And I kind of figured that too, but the name just has such a pop. And like you said, everybody's always going to think the opposite. But because of the type of individual you are and the creativity that you bring to so many different people, I mean, to sit there and talk about you've dealt with over 200,000 people you've impacted, that is amazing. And that's a lot in 30 years to have to deal with.
Yeah. Well, it's like, I am old. So I'm getting old. I'll be 56 shortly. And it is kind of an amazing life's work that I've engaged with. And just in the last year or so, I've reinvented myself and launched my Art of Being Unmessablewith, because for 30 years I was leading programs for a company called Landmark. So a lot of my coaching was done with people there, and also in my entertainment company and in my nonprofit. So it's been like a potpourri of people to impact, and I've been very, very fortunate to work with so many people. It's really an honor to participate with people's breakthroughs and transformation.
So before we, dive into more of that, I want to kind of backtrack, because like you said, you have done a lot. And of course, I'm going to start with the group, your pop group, Boy Crazy. Because I was like, Well, I think I remember that because we're literally right around the same age because I just turned 57 in April. So I'm like,
there you go. So you were a little bit older than our target audience,
yes.
which was, I was like in my early 20s and all the girls in the group were like 15 and
right,
17.
right.
And, you know, we were like, this is most people, maybe your audience, hopefully you guys will remember the New Kids on the Block. We were the female version. Yes, that's what we were.
Yeah, I was like, I remember, and I had to go back and listen, right?
Yeah. Oh my God, the music videos are kind of frightening. But it was a dream come true. And that's really started me on my venture to impact people's dreams coming true because I had mine come true.
Right. Because that's a huge dream, and to hear that you've had that type of success. And then when I realized that you had said that, hey, we even knocked out Whitney Houston's I Will Always Love You. I was like, yeah, I remember hearing this group and I said, let me go back and listen. And to know that that's how your journey started and to know that at that age and at that point in your life, you knew who you were and what you wanted. That right there is where it's a blessing because, most people that age or that young truly don't know what they want. They have dreams, but, a lot of times we don't know how to get to those dreams and then how to stick with them. So talk a little bit more about your journey as you have gone through the years of, being that pop artist and then moving forward. And then, like you said, you have worked with a landmark worldwide for many years, and that's how you got up your professional start. But kind of fill us in some of the gaps, and then what really, truly, how did it stick with you to want to do something like this to help others consistently?
Well, I will say that my first glimpse of what I'm calling being unmessable with was when I was 11 years old, and it was really my mother because my parents were separated and they were going to get divorced. And then my mother participated in a transformative workshop, and when she came out of that workshop, she was like a force of nature. And that's where I got like an insight into what could it be like if you could create anything with anyone at any time just because you said so. And that's how she was being. I didn't have the word for it back then, but I had the sense of it. And then a year later, my dad did the same workshop and they got back together.
Wow.
And they just celebrated, I know, right? 65 years they've been together. They're 90 and 92. And it's like, I'm clear without the tools of transformation, we would not have the family that we have. So I did my first transformative workshop when I was 11. That's 45 years ago. It's insane if you think about it. It's like a lifetime ago. Right. So I really grew up in this language and in this space of what's possible. And so I was very, very fortunate to have those tools early on. So then when I was in my early 20s, I had a dream when I was little to be a singer, but I figured, hey, you can't do that. You can't do your art as your career. And that was really true for me. Like, you can't do your art as your career. You have to be a business person or a lawyer or a whatever. And I was in a transformative workshop yet again, and I realized, thank God for transformation, but I realized like whatever that was about you can't do your art as your career was not the truth. It was a possible view or belief, and I had stuck myself with it when I was about 5 years old. So it loosened its grip, right? In that moment, it sort of got like less real. And within 3 weeks, I had a record deal.
Wow.
So that was like a wake up. I said, okay, if I could disappear a limiting belief and fulfill on a dream I've had my entire life, then other people can too. Absolutely. And I'm going to make it my business to empower people to fulfill their dreams and develop themselves to be unmessable with, no matter what life throws at them.
Wow.
So that's the beginning of it.
Right. And to hear the story and, what you said is very important because we all grow up in the beginning of, everything has to be conformed. Everything has to land a certain way. So it's like, sometimes our parents want us to be this. Well, you got to be a doctor. You got to be a lawyer. You got to do this. You got to go to college. You got to do all these things that we're being told because that's how people understood what success was. Things were always different, but there's a lot of people who are here, who are living, and then people who have left this earth who have never lived their dreams because they were so busy following what has been guided to them all their lives. And a part of that is access. A part of that is fear. There's all types of things, but to know at a young age that hey, this is what I can do. But the thing that really grasped me was how you said that your mom had went to this transformation program and came out a whole new person. And to pick that up at a young age and realize like, wow, is this my mom? Who is this woman?
She was unrecognizable. She was unrecognizable. She went in like a victim and came out this powerhouse. And I was just struck, like, whatever that is, I want some of that. It was like when Harry Met Sally, that movie where you're like, I want what she's having.
Yes.
Yeah, that was the experience. And, there is a statistic that 98% of people die with their dreams intact.
Yes.
And that's just not okay with me. So I figured I'll make my life's work having people flip that statistic,
Right. But, then to take all this further and then how did you get involved with working with the company Landmark?
Well, I had originally done the Landmark, or the forum, the precursor to the Landmark Forum back in the 80s. And then in 1990, when Landmark got created, I was already working with them leading seminars. So I've been leading and designing programs with them. I did that for 30 years, from 1991 to, 2021. And I completed about a year ago, but, I had always been working with this Unmessablewith thing, like on the side. And when I completed, I was like, I'll kind of semi-retire. Yeah, right. Little did I know I'd end up busier than I've ever been. But I love it because it's all my creation. And I took 3 months off to just kind of complete and see what was next. And what was next was to design courses around the distinction being unmessable with and empower people to do that. And this year I was like, I'm on a podcast mission, and that's it. I was like, I want to get the message out there to as many people as possible that this is possible. It is possible that you do not have to be hookable, that you can fulfill your dreams now, not someday, that you don't have to wait. And, most people give up on their dreams when they're little, like I did.
Right.
And you don't have to.
Right. And then, of course, usually as we're kids, we're a little bit more freer about wanting to do things. But then when we become adults, there's always something getting in the way. Right. There's always that, well, I got to do this, or there's the family. And then and women are very prone. We're known to just, we'll push this back to, tomorrow, maybe another year. Or, you look up 5, 10, 20 years, you still have not been able to fulfill what you want to do because everybody else is put first. So I'm sure you run into that a lot.
All the time. My clients, 70% of them are women, and mostly women entrepreneurs or founders, CEOs, solopreneurs. And 90% of the time, they're trying to do it all, saying they want to have it all. But that's a very different world. Having it all and doing it all is not the same thing. Right. So one of the things I work with people on is offloading things, stop doing everything. And I find it more with women than men. That they try and just be everything to everybody versus making requests and empowering a team around them. And the team doesn't just have to be limited to your business. It's like, a team in your family and a team in your community. And nobody can do everything themselves, at least if they're up to big things. If they're not up to big things, sure, you can do it yourself. But if you're up to high performance or making an impact in the work, you've got to have great people around you, and you've got to make people great around you and develop them. And a lot of people don't do that because they're just so good at reacting.
Right.
They're not spending the muscle on creating. And that's a very different world. Reacting and creating are two different universes.
Yeah. And, women are used to hearing, for years it was, hey, I'm superwoman, and then now it's, oh, I'm independent. There's all these different acronyms and words that everybody's throwing out, but yet still they don't really truly understand. How does that really affect them? What is it you're really trying to prove? Are you trying to be the superwoman? What does it really mean to be independent? It kind of drives me crazy when I start to hear people, especially some of our younger generations that are coming up and then of course everybody's kind of catching on to this independent thing, not really understanding what does that truly mean? Independency can, it can be wrapped around so many different levels. How do you work with people like that? Who
I ask them, okay, is being an independent a prize or a prison?
Oh, thank you. Say that again.
I said, is being independent a prize or a prison? Because anybody that is quote unquote independent, that inherently is, I don't need people. That's absurd. Like, of course you do. I mean, if you're a baseball player, you need the team. I mean, to say, I don't need any, I'm an independent, what are you talking about? That's not bad to be interdependent. Dependent is different, but interdependent, we are all interdependent upon each other in this world. Whether I know you or I don't know you, we exist on this planet together. And so I go, so you go, no matter what. I mean, look, what's going on in China is impacting us here, even though we might not personally know, you know, the people that are making the decisions in the Ukraine, it's impacting us here. Right. So being interdependent is not bad. Being independent, I find, is isolating. And I work with people to bridge that gap and reach out to people and start making requests and invitations for support, which most people are bad at. They're like, I don't need anything. You know, they could be starving. They could be in the desert for like 3 weeks, never had a drink. They come to your house. You say, can I give you something to drink? They say, no, I'm fine. You know, like, it's like absurd, you know, but it's reflective. Exactly. Totally reactive. It has nothing to do, you're not creating that. It's all muscle memory. And one of the things that I work with people from a neurological perspective, you know, like a brain science perspective, is to interrupt those brain patterns that are so grooved in, you know?
Right. And they didn't just start yesterday. They literally have started from the time that they were, you know, in the womb and out, because like I said earlier, everything is all about conforming. You know, you have to be this rigid way that society tells you need to do, you know, in order for you to be successful, you got to have a house, or you got to have this, you got to have, I mean, it's all these little things that people are throwing at you, making people feel kind of insecure. And so then when they start to feel insecure, then that, you know, they got to feel like they got to improve something. So, but what is it you're trying to prove? What is your real value? Where do you really see yourself? And those are the things that you are trying to pull out of people and make them realize it's really already there, but it's how do you make you know, how do you get it to work? How do you get that stigma out of your head and all those same processes that have been put in place over and over and over, and then they're constantly carrying them to each generation, right? It's like you're not changing anything if you're not willing to allow yourself to grow and to understand what you have is very valuable and who you are. And that's a big thing that I'm constantly about. And that's really what this podcast is about as well. It's not just about talking about how great and successful you have been. It's that journey that you've taken in order to get there. And people really need to understand that it's not, you know, you just don't see me with a silver spoon in my mouth. I had to work to get to that silver spoon, whatever that silver spoon looks like to you, right? And, you know, sharing these stories are very, very important. So let's talk a little bit more about the business. So, you know, talk a little bit about your process and how you know, want to reach out to people and what things that you may provide to them as they continue to think about this journey of being unmessable with.
Well, I try and provide something for everybody, every level of interest and income and, you know, resources and all of that. So I have a ton of free stuff on my website, The Art of Being Unmessable With. I have podcasts, I have articles, I have, you know, newsletters, I have videos, I have all sorts of stuff. And then I have like a free 5-day game where you practice with promises. I feel like promises are a very, very powerful tool for people to begin to exercise the muscle of using their word to create their life versus describe their life. So I do a whole thing with promising. And then I have courses. I have, you know, pre-recorded courses, which are a little bit lower end budget. And then I have the live courses. I have group coaching. I have one-on-one coaching. I have retreats in Paris. I mean, I got all sorts of stuff, everything, you know, from 0 to thousands, you know, but it's all based on what you're ready for, you know, and what you're ready to invest. And everything is an investment, whether it's time and money. But it takes something to be somebody who is a force of nature and unmessable with. It takes discipline and it takes an investment. And if you don't have the money, I have plenty of things to invest your time in so that you can develop yourself. But it's like working out. It's a muscle. Right. And to develop it, it doesn't happen overnight. I mean, I've spent 45 years developing this muscle, you know, and I have to use it every day. So you know, nobody's going to wake up and just all of a sudden be masterful at this. But if it's something that you're committed to, I've got all sorts of pathways.
Exactly. And you're right. Everything is about commitment, and taking the time to realize that, what you gotten yourself into is going to take some time to come out of it, but you have to be committed. And I think that's the number one key with anything that we do, right? Whether it's personal, professional, whatever the case may be. And, as you say, investing in yourself is the most important piece. And, we hear people who say that they want to invest in themselves. And then when it comes time to make that decision, that seems to be the hardest decision. It's like,
yeah, it's a real, you got to walk your talk at some point. You can say, oh, I want to lose weight, but if you keep eating cheesecake, you're going to have the same results. So it's not serious. It takes action. So I don't even know if it takes being committed, but it takes actions for sure.
Correct.
So I don't need to be committed to abs of steel. If I go to the gym and do the sit-ups, I'm going to get that result. I think that a lot of people get stuck in their reasons and considerations. And this is not just in investing in themselves or getting a coach. I have 3 or 4 coaches because I think anybody who's committed to high performance is going to get a coach. That's just smart business. You don't try and figure things out from the same mental area that you have available to you. You need somebody who can see things that you can't see. And I know I trust my coaches implicitly. But, when you don't take action, fears or your reasons for anything, whether it's growing your business or working out or asking someone out or whatever it is, then nothing happens.
That's right.
Thinking produces thoughts. Actions produce results.
There you go. Exactly.
Yeah.
You can't say it any clearer than that. You really can't. So
out of the mouths of babes, but not really babes.
Right.
Big babes.
Exactly. So let's dive into some of your books, because I love talking to my authors, because I'm an author too. So I always get excited when I get to learn from other people and what they have to bring to the table. So, you can pick any one of your books you want to kind of give us some insight on.
Sure. The Promise Effect, I think, is the easiest read because it's kind of like the kind of book that you can just pick up and read a page and it'll make a difference for your day rather than, having to go through chapter to chapter and it builds. And again, because I'm so big on promising, that's a book that, is a 30-day program designed to impact your life through using promises to create the kinds of things you want in your life. Like if you want courage in your life, we've got a promise that produces that. Or if you want happiness, or if you want joy, if you want appreciation, whatever the space you want, there's an access to it through a promise. And it's also beautifully illustrated by my girlfriend, who's an amazing artist, Susan Waldman Elfer. And I that's one of my personal favorites.
Yeah, and you're right. And I like that that's a 30-day program because it's enough time to kind of get that mind thinking. And then it's something that they can reuse, right? They don't have to just stop at 30 days. They can keep going at it until they really, truly feel comfortable. And then if they need to go back and tweak something, they can go back and review that. And I love those type of books that they're easy reads. And I'm the same type of writer. It's got to be easy to read because a lot of times people kind of get lost in the sauce and then they start to forget where they need to get to because they're trying to get through all the hurdles just to get to the end, so to speak. So
and it becomes conceptual, and I definitely don't want things to be conceptual for people.
Exactly. So, Josselyne, talk about, is there anything you want to share in reference to what you may have going on, that you would like the listeners to know, with your business? Because like I said, this is kind of a new transition for you after 30 years of being with other people, and then you had that time off, and now you're blowing up in this business. Talk a little bit more about what you want other listeners to know.
I really want people to know that they can start any which way. So whether it's the free 5-day promise game, whether it's downloading one of the books, whether it's just getting on my newsletter list, every week I send out tips and videos to empower people to be unmessable with. And I have a $19 calendar workshop that will literally transform your life forever. Your relationship to time and overwhelm will be completely a new world after doing that workshop. This little workshop I did for my private clients, and they had such value out of it. I was like, okay, I'm going to make it available to people because people's relationship to overwhelm is so disempowering, especially, again, women.
Yes.
They're so easily caught up in being overwhelmed and having too much to do. So I break that down and disappear. It's optional. Overwhelm is optional. And I give people access to disappearing it. So, the one-on-one coaching is very intensive and deep. And, it's not for everybody. Not everybody has the funds and the time and the emotion to invest in the one-on-one coaching. But I mean, not for nothing, I'm a master coach. So if somebody is looking for that kind of deep coaching, they're going to get more than they imagined out of working with me, because I make it my business to have my people win. And they do.
Right. Right. Exactly. And, like I said, time is money. The excuses can only last for so long. So it really is, you're giving people enough options and choices to decide how they can move forward, how they can maintain and, and sustain what they're doing in the long haul. And we do, always understand that there are people who cannot afford to pay all the time. But this is also a reason why listening to these types of podcasts and these types of shows, there's enough golden nuggets that you just drop. I take that back. Pink nuggets. I'm a pink nugget girl. So, they've dropped for people to understand that, hey, there's some ways that you can get to me. And of course, we're going to have, all the contact information in the show notes and, your website and so forth. So you can, definitely share that information with people, but like I said, I will definitely provide that so that there are no excuses or reasons why people cannot communicate. And that's the key. It's one thing to say, hey, I want to make a change, but we can't always find you. So, but there's ways that you can find us, and we're going to make sure that your information gets out there so that people can learn that Unmessable with is not about just the hand or the fist or be like, ooh, I'm strong. And it's not that you can't be strong, but at the same time, what is that strength being focused on? Where is it really?
Exactly. What are you creating? What are you creating?
Exactly. So, if you're more than welcome, please share the website so that, people can find her, any other links that you would like for people to know.
It's the artofbeingunmessablewith.com. That's the main, and you can find everything on that site. It's one stop for everything.
All right. Yeah, you can't beat that. And beat that. And like I said, I will have the information in the show notes for those who didn't hear that, because everybody's like, wait a minute, what did she say again? Let me go back and figure that out. We'll have.
I know it's like the art of being unmessable. If you Google unmessable with, not unmessable, but unmessable with, it'll come up. It's the first thing that comes up.
Right, because like I said, it's unique. So that's the first thing. So people's mindset is going to go one way, but once they really truly understand what it's about, truly understanding how, they can learn how to be expressive, understand what it means to be valued, and learn how to take the experiences they've had in their life, you will teach them how to wrap all that around together so they can, truly bring that vision together and allow them to move forward more and better than where they're at today. So I'm excited to hear more about the business in the future and the things that you're doing. So, keep me in the back of your mind so we can talk again.
I definitely will. I would love to. Anytime you have something you want to create, just let me know. I mean, I can do stuff on how to have fight-free holidays. I can talk about how to create intimacy with your spouse. I mean, there's all sorts of ways that being unmessable with manifests. And it's not just in business, but business is so at the heart for those people that are, business people. It's so much of your life. It bleeds into everything.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You're right. You're absolutely right. Well, Josselyne, it has been such a pleasure to have you on the show with me tonight. I'm glad that we finally got together, and I'm just excited for everything that's going on, with your business and personally and everything. So, again, like I said, it's been a pleasure, and I hope that I can have you back on the show either later on in the year or next year so we can see what you've been up to. But until next time, like I said, enjoy and continue to keep doing what you're doing. We definitely need people like you. And then, if you decide you want to get out and sing again, let us know too.
Yes, that probably won't be happening, but you never know. I won't say never.
Exactly.
Right, thank you so much.
Oh, you're very welcome. So you enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. So for everybody else, I hope that you truly enjoyed tonight's show. It has been phenomenal. I'm really excited about having the opportunity to get to talk with Josselyne. She's amazing, and to know that her background is unbelievable. But to have the idea of knowing that, hey, this is what I want to do. These are the things that we know that can trigger us, and a big part of that is truly understanding what is it that you want. How do you want to reinvent your life, your personal life, and the things that you want to do, right? So the key is that if you are truly interested in wanting to learn more about how to reconnect with your own power and to become unmessable with, please reach out to me anytime. So of course you can do that at Kimberly at wsbilc@gmail.com, and let's chat about being unmessable with. And, of course, if you want to talk directly to Josselyne, we can absolutely get you in contact with her, learning how to turn those dreams and turn them into goals. And of course, if you want more of your resource for success, all you need to do is we do now accept monetary donations. You can support us, the podcast, through Cash App or PayPal, Good Pods tip jar, or go directly to the website at www.wsbilc.com. And again, we really truly would like to thank you all for listening to us tonight. We will be back next week with more amazing guests. Be sure to follow us on iHeartRadio or wherever you listen to your podcasts. But until then, enjoy the rest of your evening and good night.
Good night, everyone. We will be back next Thursday evening at 7 p.m. Follow us on Spreaker, www.spreaker.com/user/WSBI. View our new WSBI website anytime at www.wsbillc.com and on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Instagram.